The doctor was always dead. The Sixth Sense has the most famous twist in movie history. Bruce Willis, dead the whole time. You know this. Your mom knows this. Everyone knows this. But that's not the part that ruins the movie. Here's what does. Malcolm Crowe isn't the hero. He's the burden. The entire film. You think you're watching a therapist save a traumatized kid? But you're actually watching a traumatized kid manage a ghost in denial. Cole isn't being helped. Cole is doing the helping. The child is the therapist. The dead man is the patient who won't accept reality. Every session where Malcolm thinks he's making progress, he's making nothing. Cole is carefully guiding a ghost through the 5 stages of grief while pretending to be the one who needs guidance. Malcolm didn't contribute a single thing to Cole's healing. Not one thing. When you rewatch the movie knowing this, that emotional ending where Malcolm finally gets it, it's not beautiful. It's exhausting because Cole knew from the first scene, and he had to wait the entire film for Malcolm to catch up. Malcolm's whole purpose was fake. His reason for staying, a delusion, and Cole carried that secret alone. Cobb's totem doesn't work. Everyone obsesses over whether the top falls at the end of Inception. Does it keep spinning? Does Cobb wake up? Is he still dreaming? But here's the theory that destroys everything. The spinning top isn't Cobb's totem, it's Mal's. A totem only works if you know its exact weight and feel, if no one else can replicate it in a dream. But Cobb is using his dead wife's totem, meaning he has no reliable way to tell dreams from reality. He never did. The entire film, Cobb has been lost. And that final scene where he walks away from the spinning top without checking if it falls, that's not him choosing his children over certainty. That's him giving up on knowing what's real because living in uncertainty is easier than facing the truth. Every spinning top in the film wobbles differently. It falls immediately. It spins forever. There's no consistency because there's no reality to be consistent with. Cobb has been trapped in limbo since the beginning. And the happy ending is just another layer of the dream. Deckard is what he hunts. In Blade Runner, Rick Deckard hunts replicants, artificial humans, who are nearly impossible to distinguish from real people. The theory that ruins everything, Deckard is a replicant himself. The evidence is everywhere. Gaff leaves an origami unicorn for Deckard at the end. But how does Gaff know about Deckard's unicorn dream? Unless that dream was implanted. Unless Deckard has false memories, just like Rachel. His eyes glow with the same shimmer as confirmed replicants. He has the same emotional responses, the same limited lifespan awareness. When Deckard runs away with Rachel at the end, it's not a love story. It's 2 programmed beings following their programming, believing they're making choices when they're only executing code. The man-hunting artificial life was artificial all along, and his entire identity, his memories, his purpose manufactured. Marlin's grief hallucination. Finding Nemo opens with a barracuda attack. Marlin's wife and hundreds of eggs are killed, only one survives. Nemo, except here's the theory. Nemo didn't survive either. Nemo means nobody in Latin. The entire journey is Marlin's mind creating an elaborate fantasy to cope with losing his entire family. Think about it. He meets Dory, who literally cannot remember anything representing Marlin's desire to forget his trauma. Every obstacle he faces mirrors the 5 stages of grief, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. The ocean is full of talking fish who perfectly guide him through each stage. Bruce the shark teaches him about controlling aggression. The jellyfish forest represents navigating pain. The whale forces him to let go and have faith. It's all too perfect, too symbolic, too convenient. When Marlin finds Nemo in the dentist's office aquarium, he's not rescuing his son. He's accepting a comforting delusion, choosing to live in a reality where his child survived, even though the real Nemo died in the opening scene. The entire film is a father's psychological breakdown disguised as an adventure. Carl's journey to the afterlife. In Up, Carl Fredricksen receives an offer for his house from a construction company. That night, he inflates thousands of balloons and flies away. The theory, Carl dies that night. The rest is his journey to heaven. Paradise Falls isn't a location in South America, it's literally paradise heaven. The house represents his attachment to Ellie, to his earthly life, to memories keeping him from moving on. Russell appears out of nowhere, an angel sent to guide him. Notice how Carl becomes more energetic, more alive as the journey continues. Because he's shedding his physical body. When Carl finally lets the house fall to save Kevin and Russell, he's releasing his earthly attachments. Accepting his death. Moving forward unburdened. The final scene shows Carl and Russell sitting on a curb, eating ice cream, counting cars. It's peaceful, timeless, eternal, because they're both dead. And Paradise Falls is exactly what it sounds like. Boo becomes the time-traveling witch. Monsters, Inc. reveals that monsters scare children to harvest scream energy. By the end, they discover laughter is more powerful. But there's a darker theory connecting it to Brave. In Brave, there's a witch who can create magic doors that travel through time and space. Her cottage contains Easter eggs from other Pixar films, including a carving of Sully, the theory, the witch's Boo, grown up. She spent her entire life learning magic and time travel, trying to find Sully again. She figured out that the doors from Monsters, Inc. could transcend space and time. So she became a witch, mastering portal magic, searching through different eras to reunite with the monster who was her best friend. But it gets darker. There's also what appears to be a toilet seat cover in the witch's cottage, made of blue fur, matching Sully's exact pattern. The implication? Sully may have died, and humans turned him into a trophy. Boo's entire quest wasn't just about friendship. It was about trying to change the past, to save Sully from a fate where monsters are hunted and skinned by the dominant species, humans. The complete timeline, every Pixar movie exists in the same universe, not just connected chronological. It starts with Brave, magic is real, the witch creates portals through doors, technology that will be rediscovered millennia later, that magic mutates animals and objects, leading to a bug's life, insects developing intelligence and complex societies. Centuries pass. Artificial intelligence develops, toys in Toy Story gain consciousness. Cars in Cars inherit the Earth after humans leave, which brings us to WALL. Humans abandon the planet, becoming dependent on machines. When they return, they're irrelevant. Robots have evolved beyond their creators. After Earth recovers, animals re-emerge as dominant. Ratatouille and Finding Nemo show sophisticated animal societies thriving in humanity's absence. And it ends with Monsters, Inc., set far in the future where monsters use doors to time travel back to when humans still existed, harvesting their energy to power their civilization. Boo, the human child, grows up to become the witch from Brave. She spends her life mastering time travel through doors, trying to find Sully again. The timeline loops. Every Pixar film is a chapter in the rise and fall of humanity, told Nonk. You've been watching the end of human civilization disguised as children's entertainment, Darth Jar Jar? Jar Jar Binks is considered one of the worst characters in Star Wars history. Clumsy, annoying, comic relief? But what if that was the disguise? The Darth Jar Jar theory claims he's actually a Sith Lord masquerading as an idiot. The evidence? Jar Jar performs impossible acrobatics in battle, flipping, dodging, blaster fire, somehow never getting hit. Like he's using the Force. He makes subtle hand movements while others speak similar to Jedi mind tricks. He rises from exiled outcast to senator with no explanation. He grants Palpatine emergency powers, enabling the rise of the Empire. A deleted scene from Attack of the Clones shows Palpatine confiding his plans directly to Jar Jar. His mouth moves subtly when others speak, suggesting he's manipulating them. The codename theory. James Bond has been played by multiple actors over decades. Sean Connery in the 1960s, Daniel Craig in the 2000s, same name, same number, different faces. The theory, James Bond isn't a person, it's a codename. 7 is a title passed between agents. Every actor is a different operative taking on the legend. It explains the changing personalities, timelines, and the fact that no one ages naturally across 60 years of films. M and Q acknowledge different Bonds without surprise. Continuity resets constantly. Bond's knowledge of events shifts film to film. And in No Time to Die, Daniel Craig's Bond actually dies, which would be impossible if Bond was one immortal person. But if it's a codename, his death just means the next agent inherits the title. Neo never escapes. The Matrix ends with Neo becoming the One, gaining powers to manipulate the simulation. He can fly, stop bullets, see code. But here's the theory that ruins everything. He never left the Matrix. In the sequels, Neo gains powers in the real world. He stops Sentinels with his mind. He has visions. He can sense machines. That shouldn't be possible. Unless the real world is another simulation, the machines created a matrix within the matrix. A second layer of control for rebels who reject the first. Zion isn't freedom. It's a bigger cage. Neo's entire rebellion was designed. The architect confirms this. Neo is the sixth one. This has happened before. the cycle repeats. The machines allow rebellion because it's a pressure valve. Let humans think they're free, keep them contained in a larger prison, and they never actually escape. Neo's sacrifice at the end isn't heroic, it's scripted. He does exactly what the system designed him to do, and the peace he achieves. Just another reset of the cycle. He was never the chosen one. He was a programmed function keeping the Matrix stable. Jack is a time traveler. Jack Dawson appears out of nowhere. He wins a third-class ticket in a last-minute poker game. He has no documented history, and he shows up exactly in time to stop Rose from jumping off the ship. The theory: Jack is from the future, sent back to save Rose. He mentions landmarks that didn't exist in 1912. The Santa Monica Pier, Lake Wissota in Wisconsin, which wasn't created until 1917. His haircut and backpack style don't match the era. He guides Rose through life-changing decisions, then disappears completely. He never tries to save himself, only her. Like he knows his mission is to ensure she survives. Some believe he's connected to Inception, that Jack is actually Cobb, trapped in limbo after drowning. The entire Titanic story is his dying mind processing the trauma of water and loss. Or he becomes Jay Gatsby, changes his name, builds a fortune, becomes obsessed with a lost love, and never learns to swim because he's traumatized by the water that killed him. Jack isn't a character. He's a ghost, a guardian, or a time anomaly ensuring the timeline stays intact. Rose was the architect all along. Get Out follows Chris Washington visiting his white girlfriend Rose's family estate. The twist: the family kidnaps black people to transplant white brains into their bodies. But the real horror isn't the family, it's Rose. Hidden photos in her closet reveal she's dated multiple black men before Chris. All of them are missing. All of them were victims. Rose isn't complicit. She's the architect, the liberal ally persona, the supportive girlfriend, the woman defending Chris against microaggressions. It's all performance. She's a hunter, and Chris is prey. The film isn't about a family of monsters. It's about how monstrosity hides behind progressive language and surface-level allyship, how exploitation disguises itself as love. Every white liberal who performs support while harboring ulterior motives, every system that looks inclusive on the surface while trafficking in bodies underneath. Rose isn't a victim of her family. She's the most dangerous one because she perfected the disguise. Eternal damnation. Toy Story presents a magical world where toys come to life when humans aren't watching. But think about what that actually means. The toys are immortal beings with full consciousness. Trapped in servitude, they experience existential horror constantly. They love children who will inevitably outgrow them. They watch themselves be donated, abandoned, or destroyed. They have awareness but no autonomy, purpose but no choice. When Andy gives his toys to Bonnie at the end of Toy Story 3, it's framed as beautiful. But for the toys, it's just another cycle. Another child who will play with them, age out, and pass them on forever. Woody's arc across 4 films is realizing this horror. In Toy Story 4, he finally leaves, chooses freedom over purpose, becomes a lost toy by choice rather than circumstance. But even that's not escape. Lost toys still exist, still have consciousness, still experience time. The toys aren't characters in a story. They're symbols of eternal damnation, consciousness without death, love without permanence, existence without end. Adult Calvin and Hobbes. Fight Club reveals that the narrator and Tyler Durden are the same person. Dissociative identity disorder, manifesting as anarchist philosophy, but there's a deeper theory. The narrator is adult Calvin from Calvin and Hobbes. Calvin had an imaginary friend Hobbes who represented his chaos, his unrestrained impulses. As Calvin grew up, society forced him to suppress that part of himself, to conform, to become the narrator, a depressed corporate drone. Until Tyler Durden emerges, a new imaginary friend, but darker, more violent, because adult suppression creates adult rebellion. Tyler Durden is grown-up Hobbes, and the narrator's entire arc is the tragedy of what happens. When you kill your imagination to fit into society, it comes back violent, demanding to be heard. The ending where the narrator shoots himself to kill Tyler, it's not victory. It's the final murder of his creative, authentic self. He's choosing numbness over chaos, society over self. The death of everything Calvin once was. Teddy chooses lobotomy. Shutter Island ends with the reveal that Teddy Daniels is actually Andrew Lettis. He's the missing patient. The entire investigation was roleplay therapy designed to break through his delusions. But the real twist comes in the final line. Teddy asks, which would be worse, to live as a monster or to die as a good man? He knows, he's always known. The entire film wasn't him discovering the truth. It was him choosing to reject it, choosing lobotomy over reality, choosing death over memory. He killed his wife after she drowned their children, and he can't live with that truth, so he retreats into fantasy. Again and again. The doctors think they finally broke through, but Teddy made his choice. He'd rather be lobotomized and forget than remain conscious and remember what he did. The ending isn't tragic because he doesn't understand, it's tragic because he does, and he chooses oblivion anyway. Cameron's imaginary friend, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, is about a charismatic high schooler who skips school and drags his friends on an adventure through Chicago. Except the theory claims Ferris isn't real. He's Cameron's imaginary friend. A projection of everything Cameron wishes he could be: confident, fearless, loved by everyone. Ferris interacts mostly with Cameron, rarely with anyone else. He always leads the day's events. When things go wrong, Cameron panics, not Ferris. Ferris is unrealistically lucky, unrealistically charming. He breaks the fourth wall, talking directly to the camera. Like he's aware, he's not bound by the same rules as everyone else. The entire Day Off is Cameron's mental escape. Ferris is the voice encouraging him to break free from his controlling father, to stand up for himself, to live. When Cameron finally destroys his dad's car, it's not Ferris's influence. It's Cameron accepting that he created this voice himself, that he has the power to change his life. The film isn't a teen comedy. It's a psychological journey of a depressed kid using fantasy to find courage. The ultimate manipulation. Oldboy follows Daisu, a man imprisoned for 15 years with no explanation. When he's released, he seeks revenge. The twist that ruins everything? The villain orchestrated it so Daisu would fall in love with his own daughter. The imprisonment, the release, the clues leading to a young woman named Midu, all of it designed to make Daisu develop romantic feelings for her without knowing their connection. When the truth is revealed, it destroys him. The villain's revenge wasn't violence. It was making Daisu commit the ultimate taboo unknowingly, then forcing him to live with that knowledge. Daisu chooses hypnosis at the end, trying to forget. But the film suggests it doesn't work. The damage is done. The relationship is poisoned, and he's trapped in a reality where ignorance is the only mercy. The villain won, not through murder, through corruption of everything human. Kubrick's moon landing confession. The Shining is about a family trapped in a haunted hotel, but some believe Stanley Kubrick used it to confess he helped fake the 1969 moon landing. The evidence? Danny wears an Apollo 11 sweater during a pivotal scene. Room 237 represents the distance to the moon, 237,000 miles. The hotel is filled with mirrors, symbolizing deception and hidden truth. Jack's typewriter changes color between scenes. Continuity errors done on purpose. Native American imagery throughout suggests stolen land and fabricated history. The phrase, all work and no play, repeated endlessly, is thought to reference the exhaustive effort of maintaining a massive lie. Kubrick was known for obsessive attention to detail. Every frame meticulously composed. The theory argues nothing in The Shining is accidental. He buried his guilt in visual codes. Whether true or not, the film is filled with unexplainable symbols and deliberate contradictions. Like Kubrick was trying to tell two stories at once. The serial killer candy maker? Willy Wonka invites 5 children to tour his factory. By the end, only Charlie survives. The theory Wonka is methodically eliminating them. Every child who disobeys vanishes under suspicious circumstances. Augustus is sucked into a pipe. Violet swells up. Veruca falls down a garbage chute. Mike is shrunk by a laser. Each accident perfectly matches their personality flaw, like punishment. The Oompa Loompas have songs ready instantly as if rehearsed. Wonka never tries to stop anything. He encourages the chaos. The factory is dangerously designed. No railings, boiling chocolate rivers, experimental technology aimed at children. And the fates of the kids are never clearly resolved. We never see them leave safely. The theory paints Wonka as a calculating figure using the tour to judge, trap, and eliminate. Only the pure-hearted child survives. The rest are removed for their imperfections. It's not a magical factory, it's a testing ground. And Wonka is the executioner. The war on drugs allegory, Zootopia presents a city where predators and prey live in harmony, until predators start going savage. The theory. The film is an allegory for America's crack cocaine epidemic and racial conspiracy theories. Redditors represent marginalized communities. Prey represent the majority. The night howler drug that turns predators savage mirrors real-world propaganda about crack making black communities violent. Assistant Bellwether orchestrates the crisis, framing predators to consolidate power. Just like real conspiracies where drugs were introduced into minority communities to justify mass incarceration, the ZPD's response, fear, segregation, and militarization, just like the war on drugs, the film becomes political commentary disguised as a buddy cop movie about how fear is weaponized, how substances are used to control populations, how systemic oppression hides behind concern for public safety. Zootopia isn't just about prejudice. It's about manufactured crises designed to justify authoritarian control.